Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Maria Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am finally back with my next update. Yeah, it's been a little while, so first things first, Happy New Year! I know, it was like 19 days ago. A long time. Lots happened since then, but Happy New Year! I hope that everybody had a really great, fun and safe New Year's Eve celebration, and I hope that the first few days of year 2017 are going splendidly. I hope that if you decided to go out and party that you had a lot of fun. I hope that if you, like me, decided to stay in and stitch, I hope that you enjoyed that as well. Yeah, we had a really low-key New Year's Eve here. Our 2017 has gotten off to a bit of a rocky start, not gonna lie. Some things have happened, which is kind of what has prevented me from recording these first 3 weeks of the year, and I'll go over that very briefly. But other than the new year, we're also celebrating my 100th video. Woo! That's cool. 100 videos in 3.5 years. That's really fun. So thanks guys for going on this journey with me. FlossTube has changed a lot since video number 1. Certainly my videos themselves have changed a lot since video number 1. Every now and again I like to watch some of my oldest videos, and it's wild. It's wild how things have changed in such a short period of time. But anyway, so of course, because I haven't seen you guys since last year, to be dramatic, I have a ton of things to talk about. I haven't worked on a whole ton of whips, which is good, so I will be showing a few projects, but not an exorbitant amount. But I've collected some things, and I have some extraneous things to talk about, so we have quite a bit to talk about. So I hope that you have some stitching or something that you need to do to pass the time, something to drink. I do. Back in the VT Cup. Hokies beat Georgia Tech in men's basketball in the final seconds, and it really wasn't that we won, it was just that we didn't lose, because we maybe could have lost that game last night. So yesterday I tried to record. It was a beautiful day in Virginia yesterday. We've got some overcast, which is why my situation is a little bit different, because I want whatever light can come through to come through. Yesterday I had the opposite problem. It was so sunny and the sun was directly in my face that even fabrics had glare and you couldn't see anything. So I made it 45 minutes of, like, you know, trying to do a whole bunch of different angles so that you guys could see what I'm trying to show you. And I was like, you know what, this is terrible. I'm not doing this today. So I'm gonna feel like I'm repeating things, and I'm gonna lose my train of thought, just like I did just there. So we're gonna get through it, and I'm gonna show you some stuff. So let's get to it. So when I spoke to you last, it was just after Christmas, and we were leading up to New Year's Eve. It was that week in between. And I was talking to you guys about what I might work on New Year's Eve, because as I had told you, we were going down to Blacksburg to go see the basketball game versus Duke. We won that game too. Woo! Which was a lot of fun. Totally distracted with that. So I was telling you that we were going to get back New Year's Eve at about 7, 8 o'clock. It was pretty accurate. We got back, I think, a little after 8. And so I was trying to decide what I was going to work on. I talked about maybe pulling out the project that was my New Year, New Start for 2016, my Autumn Fairy by Chatelaine. I talked about, I think I might have mentioned not stitching at all, and then just making my New Year, New Start after midnight. And I also talked about possibly working on my Fantasy SAL, because that block was due to release at midnight UK, so 7 o'clock my time. So by the time I got home, I had that in my email. I had the new block in my email, and I was like, why not? So I went ahead and pulled out my Fantasy SAL, and I worked on this until midnight before I switched over to my New Year, New Start. So the January block is a unicorn. And with purple hair and stars and a green scarf, very cute. And this is what the whole inner design looks like without the border. And this is, of course, by Lakeside Needlecraft and Doreen Jones. And mine is on a 32 count Belfast in Heroic by Picture This Plus. You'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like last time. As I said, I worked on this until midnight, and then at some point afterward, I pulled this out again to finish up the block. I might have done this on the 1st, but I can't be sure. So anyway, so here we are. I'm going to show you the whole design currently as it stands. A whole mess of different things going on here. Little bits completed here and there, lots not yet done, obviously in that border. And let me fold this up as I do and bring it in nice and close. So there is my unicorn. And I think that he turned out really cool. He doesn't have a name. I haven't named him yet, and I'm not sure what to name him. Somebody, Christy with a K, she recommended Ulysses. So maybe Ulysses. Yeah, that's a pretty cool name for him. I did stitch this almost completely as charted. The only thing that I changed is the gold back stitch that sort of runs through his mane and through his hair. It's charted as just 1 strand, but I couldn't see it. So I switched it up to 2 strand. Just so that I could see it a little bit more. So there's that. And by filling in that block, page 1 of this entire design is done. All the way. The border comes down, I believe, into here. And then you can see this part of the snowflake. Just that tiny little bit that is on page 1 that I finished. And some of this border up here is in page 1. So page 1, all the way done. Feeling pretty good about that. And then obviously on February 1st, we'll get the next one. I'm really anxious to see what the rest of the characters are going to be. I kind of like how each one sort of has a partner. So like January and August are both horse-like. Speaking of horse. They are both horse-like. Then we have 2 humanoid-like creatures, I guess, in a wizard and a witch. And then we have 2 like little ones. So we have a goblin and a fairy. So I'm anxious to see what's coming up next. I'm hoping there's a mermaid, and I'm hoping there's a dragon. Looking forward to that. Ooh. Showing you more of the back than I want to. This design has a lot of backstitch, and just so you guys know, backstitch is just trails all over the place. So love that. Looking forward to making more progress. I've been asked if I was going to participate in the other Lakeside Needlecraft stitch-alongs. So currently they have running the Under the Sea. Is it called Under the Sea? I believe so. Under the Sea stitch along, and that one is super adorable. And every time I see a new project from somebody else, I get the urge just a little bit more to participate in that one. Upcoming, going on sale tomorrow for pre-order, is the Insect SAL. That is also very attractive to me. I was a little sad to find out that they are not including spiders, just because I hate spiders, but they can be depicted really cute. But I'm not going to be participating in that one, I don't think. At least not now. I have enough with the SALs going on that that's kind of all I need. So this was for my week 1 of my rotation, which is a SALs week. And since at the time this is technically my only currently running stitch along, that's not true. But this was the only one that I worked on that week. One of the other ones I worked on a little bit later, but I'll talk about that then. So, week 2 of my rotation is my Heaven and Earth Designs week. I'm going to talk about my New Year, New Starts separate segment. So, these are whips that you know about. So, week 2 of my rotation is my Heaven and Earth Designs. I actually started working on my Heaven and Earth design a little bit early, and I'm still working on it now, despite the fact that we're midweek 3. And the reason for that is the very first week of January, Danny got sick, and he's been sick all of twice since we've been together for 6 years, and he had the flu. He had an upper respiratory flu, and complete with fevers and aches and all of that fun stuff. He said that he hasn't had the flu for 12 years. 12 years. So I basically commanded that he stay in bed, watch movies, just rest, sleep, take it easy for the time that he was sick. Since we've been together, he has never taken a sick day from work. He's taken vacations and staycations, but never a sick day. And he took 4 sick days. It was serious. And I was sort of like, I don't even know like what is life right now, because it's so unusual for him to be sick. More unusual than that is that I didn't get sick. And I'm always sick. Like, I'm always sniffling. I always have a cold of some kind. And I did not get his flu. And we were living in such close quarters. Like, I can't fathom why I didn't get sick, but I really didn't. I had one day where I felt kind of ugh, but that was it. So it must have been a strain that I had already been exposed to that he just never did. And then on top of that, just to complicate things a little bit, Thor had kennel cough. So my whole house was like in this state of upheaval, and so my stitching was definitely a back burner kind of thing. At one point I did set up my Heaven and Earth design on a Q-snap, and I attempted to use my my stand that Danny had built for me, but it didn't really last. It wasn't... I think that because I was so up and down, like making sure that Danny had what he needed, dealing with Thor, and just like the general stress of having a sick household, the stitching was erratic. I think in 5 days I did 120 stitches on that design. So not anything really. So I started on that because my New Year, New Start was in here on my stand and with my chair, and I wasn't going to be in here stitching while he was sick. I was just letting him just get better. So, yeah. And then week 2, I worked on my Heaven and Earth design pretty heavily, and I am very close to a page finish. This is for, I don't think I mentioned it in this last ramble here, but I'm doing page 7 of April by Anna Dittman for the Heaven and Earth Designs Challenge number 4. And I've talked a lot about this challenge, and I was a little bit frustrated with it because they made it very complicated for some people. And I mean, it would have been fine by me. Like, I would have managed to get it done in the time constraints, but they actually ended up extending the deadline. And so you don't have to be done until, I think, April 7th or something like that. So that's really great. Mine's going to be done probably today, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really close to done. Okay, so let me tell you this story. This past weekend, Danny's finally healthy, and we don't have to be anywhere. So I made him take me out to breakfast on Saturday morning, and then we get back to the house, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go stitch for a little bit. And then I'm like, I'm gonna stitch gangbusters, and I'm gonna see how much I can get done in a day. I ended up doing 1,600 stitches on Saturday, and it hurt. Like, I was pretty sore from doing that much in a single day. Stitched all day. I mean, we're talking like 11 to 11, so like 12 hours. I mean, you know, there were breaks and things. 1,600 stitches. So then, on Tuesday, just a couple days ago, I was like, I changed my style of stitching, and I'm going to go into this here in just a minute, but I changed the way that I stitch my Heaven and Earth designs a little bit. And it's kind of making me a little bit faster. So I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could beat that record of 1,600 stitches. Danny wasn't here, so I had no marital obligations. I didn't have to eat if I didn't want to. And so I went gangbusters and put in 1,760 stitches. Now, I could have done more, but I started late, and when Danny got home from work, we were having dinner, hanging out, catching up on the day, and then we decided to watch The Wall, which is like my new favorite game show. Anyway, so I did 1,760 stitches. So between those 2 days, that's well over 30, why can't I math? 3,300 stitches. Yeah. My page is like a little over 7,200 stitches total, I think. So I did half of it in 2 days. Now, part of that is because this page is, I mean, it's not very confetti heavy. The most number of colors I've had in a block is maybe 6, maybe 7. It's really not bad on the confetti. The downside is that I'm not making anything. Like, it's just blobs. And I'm going to show it here in a second. So, hold up. One thing I did want to talk about is I'm super excited about this. I have recently acquired a device that is going to make it possible for me to record myself stitching. I'm so excited. And so I am going to do some demos. Probably much in the same way that Pam Reed just put up, I think yesterday, where she did some demos on how she does the full coverage designs. And so I'm going to do something similar, just to put something else out there so that people who are looking at tackling a full coverage design have some options for how others do things, because I do things a little bit differently than Pam does. So I'm gonna do that as soon as that device arrives, It's scheduled to be delivered tomorrow. However, it might be delivered today. I don't know. So once that happens, checking to see if I'm getting a delivered notification. So once that happens, I'm gonna get that set up and I'm gonna get to work on that. I have been asked for so many years now how I stitch full coverage designs, and I have wanted so badly to do some demonstrations and some tutorials, and I haven't had the setup, but this is going to make it possible. I just know it, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to jerry-rig it and make it do it, in taking from Pam's vocabulary there. So I'm not going to go into details on how this works, because those demonstrations will walk you through how this works. But it has sped me up. On Tuesday, I did the math, some rough math, and I did about 160 stitches an hour. So almost 2 full blocks per hour. And that's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good. So, let me go ahead and show you the progress. First, you're going to be seeing what this looked like last time. And here is what the design will look like finished. Boy, this really changes the colors in the room, doesn't it? That's amazing. So I am working on page 7, which is in this region over here. And I'm going to use this for reference here in just a second. So here's where I'm at. And you can see pretty clearly where that page is. So this is page 7 here. This is the bottom line of page 7. These threads are parked in page 13. I don't know why, but that brings me joy. Like, I have threads parked in page 13. Now this design is called April, as I've said, but I keep referring to it as Mika, who is also Darling Bluebell, because every time I work on this, I get a better sense of why she loves the color blue. Now, when I was a kid, blue was my favorite color. Loved it. Being the first known blue-eyed baby in my family, just have an appreciation for it. But I don't know, working on this design, working with these gorgeous shades of blue, every time I have to pull a new thread, I'm like, how deep into blue are we getting? Which is why I wanted to do page 7, because it is starting to bleed into those darker shades. And I absolutely love these colors. But I think about Mika every time I work on this because it's blue. And it's just pretty. So that is the progress I have. I have, I think, a little over 700 stitches left to do. I think I've done about 300 today. So I have about 700 to go, and then the page is done and the challenge is complete. And I'm so excited. And I absolutely love this design. At one point, not too long ago, on Heaven and Earth Designs on the Facebook page, somebody posted a video progression of them working on a design from start to finish. And they did this really unique thing where they worked page 1 and page 2, and then this page, and then page 3, and this page, and the page below. And so it went in this diagonal. And I think I'm going to do that too. Because if I have to wait, I'm really impatient with the dark shades of blue because I just love the color palette with this design. I don't want to have to wait to get to page 13 before I get into the even darker shades. You can tell that there is a vast difference between these shades here and these shades here. So like these shades that are parked in page 8 compared to those parked in page 13. It's so, they're just pretty. They're just pretty. I like the pretty. So essentially, once I finish page 7, then I have two pages before I get to work, page 13. I'm just excited about that. Not only that, but it will get me to her face sooner, because her face is page 9, I think. I think it's page 9. And like her face is page 9. So, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have to complete 7 pages before I can get to the face page. Whereas if I was doing this traditionally, I'd have to do 8 pages. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I love the darker colors in this. And I'm just excited. So sometime last week I did this screen capture. I'm learning how to use screen capture on my laptop. And of this spreadsheet that I put together for tracking this page 7. And I can go ahead and insert that clip here in just a second. Basically how I use this spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to demo how I am using this Excel spreadsheet to calculate how many stitches I have left. So I put this together today, and the way that it's used is that basically all I input is in this field right here or this field right here, just depending on what day it is. So for instance, today is January 10th of 2017, and I did 500 stitches on April today, so I inputted 500 here. This is the total number of stitches I have done on the page. This is the remaining stitches I have left for the page. And then this is a calculation of how many stitches I have to do every day after today in order to finish the page by the end of the month. So let's say it's tomorrow. I'm just going to test this out so that you guys can see how it works. So tomorrow, let's say I have a record day and I do 1,200 stitches tomorrow. So I'm going to input 1,200 and then hit enter. And as you can see, this last column here just automatically updated. So let's see here. So if I did 1,200 stitches tomorrow, then moving forward, I would have to do a mere 216 stitches every day for the rest of the month to have it finished by the end of January, the page finished by the end of January. The reason that these ones turned green is that at the very beginning of the month, you can see here that it calculated that I had to do 245 stitches every day. And so I did some conditional highlighting so that when I was at a threshold of less than that 245, it would turn green. So essentially, if I did 1,200 stitches tomorrow, then moving forward I would have fewer stitches to do per day than I did at the beginning of the year. And so that's just some conditional highlighting features. And then over here, this does not automatically update. So what I am doing is each day I'm going through and highlighting the stitches that I do. So let's say on the 11th I did 1,200 stitches again. So we have, let's try this again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200. And then I'm going to color fill, and it automatically updates with that color. So that's just kind of like a graphical representation of where I'm at on the page. And let me close that so that you can see, or so that I can see rather, that just about where I'm at on the page and about where I've got left to go. These are not to scale, but it's just an idea that these two rows on the top and the bottom here are just a little bit thinner than the full 100 blocks. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you was that I decided to have a look and see how this chart will break up by the pages, by the picture. And so this is kind of a rough guide of where everything is broken up on the total design. And so I have page 1 and 2 already done. And so that's kind of where I drew my guidelines from. So yeah. And then these dotted lines here mark the very center of the pattern. So you can see that by the time I finish page 7 here, I will have already crossed the halfway point, at least on this page. So that is kind of what I'm using to track things, because I like to track things. But the updated version shows that I have to do a mere 55 stitches every day in order to finish the page by the end of January. Just 55. Just a measly little 55 stitches. That's amazing. Those 2 days where I put in 3,300 stitches combined really kick-started this. I told you guys that I wanted to get 10 Heaven and Earth Designs pages done this year, and the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is if I work really hard on my Heaven and Earths. I have to really be giving them some effort. So, yeah, really excited. Really excited. I'm going to have it done either today or tomorrow. I have some other potential plans for today, so we shall see. So there is that. Move that over there. Alright. Next. Now let's talk about one of my other stitch-alongs that has transferred over from 2016. Take a quick sip. That is the Birthstone Dragon SAL by Ingleside Imaginarium, who is Blimey Cat Stitches, or Brittany. So the new block was released at midnight Eastern Standard Time on New Year's, and it took everything in me not to pull it out and just start stitching it immediately. However, Stitch Mania this year, their Color Day challenges take place on the 15th of the month, and they correspond to the birthstones. So, for instance, January is Garnet. This is the Birthstone Dragon SAL. January is Garnet. So I'm like, alright, I have to save it for the 15th, because I want to be able to participate in that challenge, and I'm not quite sure how long each of these dragons are going to take me. So this will be a good gauge. Like, for instance, if it took me 2 days to complete the dragon, then I know that I could work on it, like, let's say for a day in the first week during my SALS week, and then finish it up on the 15th for the Color Day challenge. Spoiler alert, that's probably what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to insert a preview here of what this looked like the last time you saw it. And this is on a 32 count Sparkling Diamonds Belfast from Crafty Kitten Fabrics. And it's this really lovely washing out. It's very soft blues, and there's some pink shades and even a little bit of purple. And this is where I got on day 1. So, effectively, I mean, I could have finished him on day 1, but there's a couple of reasons why I didn't. So there is my gorgeous little guy. Love him. So the biggest reason why I didn't finish him on the very first day that I worked on him, on the 15th, this past Sunday, is that I ran completely out of DMC 741. Totally, completely ran out. And that is one of the orange shades. So I had to go get a skein, but I have since done that. So now I can go ahead and finish him up. The other reason is that I am replacing the actual gemstone. So the design calls for a little gemstone being held there in his claws, just as each one will be. I wanted to do something a little bit more special. and so I had to go to a craft store of some sort and find an alternative, and I found one, and I'm so excited. I'm going to show you that here in haul stuff in a little bit, but so I have to finish up his claws. I have to attach that. I need to finish up the stitching in his tail and back stitch, and then he's done. And then I can work some more on the border because got a little bit of a ways to go here. But I love him. I love how well he fills out the block. I mean, like, there's empty space, but it's not a ton. He's so cute. And he has a name, but I will tell his name once I finish the block. This needle minder is from Gina's Unique Boutique. And it is one of the dragon needle minders that I have on this project, but I'm just storing it with this one. So this is one of my potential plans for today. I might just take the time today and finish out that block. Okay, so you guys know that I am participating in Stitch from Stash this year. And I set my budget at $20. I purchased something over the weekend, so it brought my total spending down by a few dollars. And then I had to purchase a piece of fabric for something, and I'll talk about that more here in a second, but I had to buy a new piece of fabric. Hand-dyed. So that totally ate my budget, and I was sitting in the negative. Not good. So I was like, okay, I can't do this. I can't have negative for my Stitch from Stash. Not an option for me. I need to finish something. I need to finish something now so that I can get myself back in the positive, and gets me every time. My iPad's over here, and every time it lights up, I think that it's my delivered notification. Anywho, I was like, I need to get something finished now so that I can add some credits. So I'm looking through my whips, and I'm like, okay, what can I finish now? I could finish my Graceful Reindeer. No, I can't because I need something else for that. I could finish some other kind of small. There was one of my Mill Hill ornaments wouldn't have taken very long to finish, but that's only worth $2, give or take. I could have finished my Year in Chalk May, because that won't take very long, but that's only worth a few dollars. So I'm panicking. I'm like, what can I finish that's going to be worth it? Finally, I'm like, Jess, look at your year of whips, because that's your focus for 2017. April by the Cricut Collection. So I'm going to insert a preview here of what that looked like the last time you saw it. And this is the design as charted. Very cute. And here it is. Finished. I did exactly as I said. This took way longer than it should have. I'd probably be done with the Heaven and Earth Designs Challenge by now. But this took a really long time. Just gonna let that just sit there for a second. So it took way longer than it should have, because basically all I had to do based on that preview you just saw was the L, the flowers around it. I had to finish out the bottom of the eye, this little section right here, and then these flowers over here needed finishing. It took way too long. So, but I did it. It's done. The fabric is a 32 count Dove Gray linen by Witchelt. Witchelt linens are stiff. As you saw in that preview, I had a really ugly crease down the center, I think through the R there. But fortunately, I was able to iron that puppy out. I washed this in a hot water bath with a little bit of dish soap, but like it was diluted big time. And hot water, and then I set my iron to the hottest setting possible, and managed to get that crease out. I was really concerned about that crease because witch linens are notorious for just holding on to any sort of fold, but managed to get that out. So yeah, it's all done. And then after the bath, I attached the little bunny button. Now, when I posted this on Facebook on a couple of groups, some people were like, how did you know to put that on there? It was charted like that. It's charted for that button. And that is Just Another Button Company bunny button. One thing I want to show you guys. Take a look at that bunny. Do you see how chubby that bunny is? I got the diet version. Because he's skinny. Now I know that these are all handmade, and so of course there's going to be some variation in them. I just thought that was hilarious. He's like super skinny. You can't really tell that he has a tail. Like it's not a defined tail. Anyway. So cute. And then my signature down there next to the eye. Do you know the hardest part about my signature this time? I had to remind myself to put 17 and not 16. Jess, you need an extra line for that Roman numeral for 17. So, there is that. Now, here's a funny thing about Cricut collection pieces. Kind of drives me a little crazy, but it's funny. So these designs, they're really awesome. They have on the inside, and I'm not going to show it to you because chart, but they have a breakdown of if you're stitching this on 14 count, if you're stitching this on 18 count, if you're stitching this on 32 count linen over 2, etc. And it's a breakdown of how big this design is going to be on the respective counts. I think even this one it says 10.5. 10 count. Yeah, 10 count is even charted out on that. Really cool. The symbols that they use, they're all varied, excuse me. So they're really great symbols. They're big symbols. They provide a DMC as well as an anchor alternative if that's your choosing. But here's the thing. And 1, 2, 3 Stitch falls victim to this. So it has this long list of colors ranging from 333 to 3865. And that's listed in the key, along with the symbol that goes along with that color. Perfect. The backstitch instructions, also really great. For instance, the first line says, backstitch, single ply, violet, primrose, hyacinth, and wreath stems use 3347. Okay, great. Perfect. Then the next line reads, for the basket, 738. 738 is not in that thread list. I didn't pull any 738 because it's not in that thread list, and it wasn't listed on the 1, 2, 3 stitch. You know that select all button? It's not listed there. 738. So I'm going to pull out a length of 738 to backstitch around the basket. Is it called for anywhere else? Nope. Did I use 738? No. I used 739, which was a color that was called for in the design, and I happen to have a length of. Silly. It gets better. For the bird leg, there's just one bird that has a leg, and it's this one over here on top of the L. He's a little bit higher, whereas this one is resting on the top of the P there. For the bird leg and the eyes in a single ply French knot for the eyes, so 2 eyeballs, 1 leg, and literally just 1 leg of a backstitch. 844. Is 844 called for in the design? Nope. I am not pulling out a length for 2 tiny French knots and 1 leg of a bird leg. No. So I just used the the same color as the letters for those tiny little details, because I pull out a whole length for these colors. I don't work off of a bobbin. That, I can't do it. I can't work from a bobbin. I will pull a length off of a bobbin. My master storage is on bobbins, but I can't work on bobbins. So I would have to pull a whole length in order to do 2 French knots and 1 no. So I didn't. If the police are coming for me because I went off pattern, then so be it. Guilty as charged. Because no. So cute. I have to tell you guys. I'm working on these daffodils up here. And then I'm working on the violet. And you know what I can't help but think? You can learn a lot of things from the flowers. Alright, that's all the singing I'm going to do. But Alice in Wonderland was like playing in my head here. And then I'm thinking about Alice sitting in an umbrella. And then I'm thinking about the rabbit who's always late. I thought that was hilarious. So this is my Alice in Wonderland. And then of course I had to watch the All in a Golden Afternoon because that song was stuck in my head. So anyway, there is my April. So pleased with how it turned out. This, as I've mentioned, I'm going to be the way in which I'm going to frame these so that I can interchange them out as the months go by. So I have this one done, and I have July done, which means I'm ahead of Joe. Just saying, Joe. You got some catching up to do. Because I got 2 done. What? I mean, they're not fully finished or anything. But, anywho. So, loved that. That was worth $18. So, I basically recouped everything that I had spent on that last minute piece of fabric. Woo! Okay. So, that is it for the whips. Next, let's move on to stitch-along pieces. So the month-long stitch-along in Mania is New Year, New Start. Not to break habit, I chose 4, that I was going to start 1 a week for the 4 weeks of January. So my New Year, New Start, as in the project that I started at 12:02 or 12:03, because I watched the ball drop and I kissed my husband and, you know, blah, blah, blah. We cheersed. Blah, 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 kiss my husband, blah, blah, blah. Just kidding. So that brand new first minutes of 2017, I started January by the Cricket Collection. And this is where Joe has me beat, I know. But I love this one. This one has no hand-dyes and no buttons. That's fabulous. And so I'm going to show this to you, but I got to tell you, it's going to look a little weird. This is on a 28 count cashel linen in ice blue. And yeah, it looks a little weird. It's just like little bits of things all across the top edge. So my J with the angel, the very top of the J. We have almost a whole leg of the first A. Have the tree trunk of the one leg of the N. The tree trunk and one of the bows of the tree there on the other leg, and then the berries on a branch or whatever coming through at the cross. On the U, we have the snowman's arm and a mitten, part of his arm. And then one of the uprights of the U. This is a funny little bird that was used to count to get over to this star that you cannot see. There we go. It almost matches the fabric perfectly. That's great. So that's the beginnings of a star, I believe. Yep. You can barely see it on their fabric either. And then on the R, I have a couple of acorns and some of the letter, just a tiny little bit of the letter worked on. So this was during that week that Danny was sick. And so if he was going to go take a shower, I stole a few stitches here and there. Sometimes he decided he wanted to be out in the living room, so I would steal a few stitches there. But I just wanted to work my way across the top of the pattern. Now you're all looking at this piece of fabric going, Jess, why isn't it centered? Because this half of the fabric, this bottom half, is for my part 2 of my Christmas stars. So I mentioned to you guys last time that I finished the first version, and so the blue version, blue and silver version, will go on the bottom of this fabric. In due time. Not yet. So that is my January. And this will get worked on again. Now this not only was my New Year, New Start, but it's also my first project for the seasonal stitch along in Stitch Mania. And we are currently in the midst of Whimsical Winter Part 1. So for January, February, and March, the first half of March, we're in Whimsical Winter Part 1. And so this is my first project for that. Okay. Next, week 2. So Danny started to feel better. And the antibiotics finally helped him. And so I was able to start stitching a little bit more consistently. So on the 8th of January, my second New Year, New Start got started. And that is Earth Goddess by Joan Elliott. Oh, love her. She's just so beautiful. She even looks sad, which for some reason just, I don't know, it just appeals to me. So, Earth Goddess. I am stitching this on 32 count Belfast in dried thistle from from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. At the very last second, I almost switched for Care to Win, but I decided to just stick with my plan. I'll use Care to Win for something else. I already have an idea percolating for that. But it is this beautiful honeyed amber, even some paler bits and some more rusty color. Oh, love this fabric. It's so pretty. So I did quite a lot for that week, and I only stitched on this for 5 days because I got a little carried away with Heaven Earth design. I don't know if you heard. So that is where I got to. So I almost finished up. Let's see here. I almost finished up this grays and tan section of her skirt. A little bit more to do in there. Then I did a little bit of these parts, which I love these colors together. Those browns, so pretty. I worked up her bodice a little bit. I wanted to get up here and do some of the skin, but I ended up not doing that. And then I worked up the ring that goes around her. And because Emily Surikis was on my mind, I decided to work on the mushrooms. So, pretty decent progress for just a few days of work. I love this. I love these colors. I like the way that Joan Elliott designs. I mentioned this somewhere about how Joan Elliott designs are a lot like how I used to color when I was a kid. You know, like the super dark outline and then you lightly shade on the inside. That's kind of what I feel like this is sort of alluding to, especially in this bottom corner of her bodice. You see the darkest shades are on the outside, progressively getting lighter. I loved this. Absolutely loved this. And it's really, really difficult for me to not work on her or the reader at all times. It's strange that I don't feel the same attachment to Rose Fairy. And I haven't necessarily worked out why that is. But there you have it. She will come out eventually. I have to find a way to work on her some more. Okay, so week 3 of my New Year New Starts. I was planning on starting Clouds Factory's Fabulous Women in History. And that ended up not happening. And the reason is that, so I received my Fabric of the Month from Under the Sea Fabrics from Leslie. And it was a lot lighter than I was expecting it to be. And so I'm going to show you that here in a second. But I was conflicted. It's beautiful fabric, don't get me wrong, but I was just expecting something darker. So I was doing a floss arrangement or floss toss, whatever you want to call it, and comparing it to how the design looks. It's too light. It's too light for what I wanted. It's too light for how I imagined this design to play out. So I contacted Leslie. I'm like, hey, do you have anything darker? And she was like, well, I can do a double dip. Yes, okay. So that's that fabric that I purchased that I needed to then finish April to pay for, so to speak. So I haven't started my Fabulous Women in History. I will. I will probably start that the second that fabric arrives, but not until then, which is fine because those Clouds Factory's designs, they're busier than they look at first glance, but it won't take me much to just bust out the first two. The first two characters are Eleanor Roosevelt and Coco Chanel, and I really like how this design is working out. So once I get that fabric, then I'll get that started. So I don't have any New Year, New Start for this current week 3, which is fine by me because I'm getting that Hade challenge done. So I can just work on that. So there's that. So let's move on to plans. Okay. It's currently week 3 in my rotation, and I haven't shown you my week 3 in my rotation piece. What's going on with that? It's because I haven't worked on it yet. Because I've been so focused on the Heaven and Earth design, I just haven't pulled out that piece. Not only that, but I haven't given it its due diligence yet. I haven't been in the right brain space to do that. So once I finish that Hade challenge, then I'm wide open and I can just work on this. I can just focus on this for a few days. So I think that if I get the Hade challenge done today, and then I get the Birthstone Dragon done either today or tomorrow, depending on stitching time for the rest of the day, then I will have Friday and Saturday to just focus on Rose Fairy. Spoiler. So week 3 of my rotation is my focus or Tour de Designers piece, and this project happens to satisfy both. So this is the Rose Fairy by Joan Elliott. And I'm just going to show you this here so that you can see what it looks like currently. Here's what the design will look like finished. And I'm stitching this on a 28 count Lugana. I'm pretty sure. And it is in Confetti by Picture This Plus. So it's pretty yellows, buttery yellows with spots of greens and pinks and blues and purples. Okay, so here is where this project currently stands. So I'm working on the gorgeous little tendrils of her skirt, little flower skirt there, and we will see what I can get done in a couple days' time. I'm really sad that I haven't given her her time, because like I said, I'm just really digging Joan Elliott designs right now. But nevertheless, gotta get that hate challenge done. And then this is gonna get some good, it's gonna get some good work in the next few days. So I won't beat myself up too much about it. So there's that. Okay, on Sunday starts week 4. So on Sunday, I will be making my 4th New Year, New Start. And that, as I've mentioned, and I'm just going to mention it here real quickly, is the Tingles series by Lizzie Kate. And I'll be starting with, I believe, the Ghosties and Ghoulies block. There. And this is on a 28 count milk chocolate linen by Witchelt. So there you have it. Okay. That piece is pulling double duty because it is not only my New Year, New Start, but it is also the project that I'm going to be working on all year round, the first few days of each month, for the I can't ever remember the names of these SALs, but it's the trick or treat all year round or something to that effect. And so basically I'll be working on a block per month for the rest of the year. So there's that. In addition to that, there's also the Christmas all year round. And so I will be working on the companion piece for that, which is the Jingles series. And for January, I will be working on finishing up block 1 because, excuse me, I hadn't yet. And this, I believe, is a 32 count linen in amber. It is also by Witchelt. So I hadn't quite yet finished up that block, so really I just need an hour or so to finish up that Deck the Halls block. So there's that. Looking forward to getting back to this and finishing up that block. It's been sitting in that status since July of 2015, I think. Ooh. That's a really long time. Maybe August, but definitely end of summer 2015. Yikes. Okay, so I'm going to get that block finished up. And so that is, I've kind of scheduled these for the first 3 days of next week, so Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I expect that I should have both of those blocks finished up in that time. Not a problem. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of my week 4. Talking this much is really quite strenuous. Okay, week 4 of my rotation for last year was a daily rotation through the rest of my either whips or Year of Whips once Year of Whips started. I'm changing it. Here's my thought process with this. I can get the small projects for Year of Whips done, no problem. No sweat. And just knock them out as quick as possible. However, I have several projects in Year of Whips that have a lot of work left to do. I'm thinking of Persephone, Frosty and Odd Garden, Elizabeth by Glendon Place, Electra by Nora Corbett, Opus 2, Maggie by Long Dog Samplers, Under the Moonlight by Passione Rigamo. I have so much work left to do on these projects. They're big. They're my big ones. And so some of these projects have a devoted week at some point this year. And then going through the alphabet on these projects, I'm going to get a day here and there, every 20-ish days. Every 20-ish days of week 4, not every 20 days of the year. So we're talking about one day roughly every 4 months. So some of these are not going to get done by the end of the year. That's not going to fly. That's not going to work for me. So I've been sort of trying to figure out how I'm going to restructure my week 4 so that I can not ignore those smaller projects, but also give the bigger ones their due attention. So my thought was, well, I could pick a few. I could pick a few of the big ones and just give them that week 4. So like Rose Fairy, I could work on for these next few days and then next week. Part of this is inspired by a lot of floss tubers, if I'm honest. I've been working on my watch later list as of late, and a lot of the people that I follow and a lot of the videos that I watch most regularly, they are people that have a few projects, a few ongoing whips, but they focus. They're a little bit more focused. And sometimes I feel like my rotation is a little bit erratic. I mean, I haven't worked on a ton these past few weeks, but like week 4 is upwards of another 7 projects in a week. It's a little insane. I thought about culling the herd down to 5 or 6 projects and just totally ignoring the other 70 odd projects that I have. That's not going to work because, number one, I can't pick 4. I can't pick 4 of my children. Not to mention, I have 25 more projects to do for Year of Whips, so, I couldn't do that. I couldn't just pick one of the big ones to focus on in week 4. So, I have since decided to use random number generator. Now, here's how this is going to work. We're going to come up on my week 4, and I'm going to use random number generator with the remaining projects that I have. Currently there's 25 of my Year of Whips, and it's going to pick a project, and it doesn't matter which project it picks. If it picks a project that I have no interest in working on right now, I'm trying to think of some of my Year of Whips. May. I'm not interested in working on May by the Cricket Collection right now, because I just worked really hard on that other Cricket Collection. I just need a little break from the Cricket Collection right now. It doesn't matter what random number generator pulls. That project, I'm working on it. So, I got this from somebody else, and forgive me, I do not remember where I got this from. But even if it's a project that you don't want to work on, put 100 stitches in it, and then put it down. Move on to something else. Move on to something else. Another randomly drawn project, or something that you want to work on, like reward yourself with something you want to work on. So I'm going to take that mentality. If this random number generator pulls May, I'm going to put in 100 stitches and then put it down and do something else. Now let's say it's a project that I really want to work on and it's close to finishing. It needs a few days, but it's close. So I'm thinking Darth Vader Sugar Skull. I really want to work on that. I'm so excited for February fandom because I want to work on that. I'm thinking of Cross Stitch Lover by Ursula Michael. That only needs a couple days. I'm thinking of Big Bang Theory by Wee Little Stitches. These are projects that I really want to work on, but need a few days. So let's say today I randomly number generate and I pull Darth Vader Sugar Skull. I'm going to work on that for as long as I want to in week 4. Work on it till it's finished, maybe. Might only take me a few days. And then I'll have a few days left of the month, at which point I would draw another project and have a finish. So this is going to be very fluid. It's going to be a little bit it's going to fluctuate a bit. Let's say that random number generator pulls one of my humongo projects and I'm feeling the urge to work on it. let's say it pulls Rose Fairy. And I'm like, all right, this is awesome. I have the rest of the week to work on this. Let's say next Thursday, I'm like, all right, I'm bored. I need to switch it up. Random number generate something else. I think that this is going to work out really well. So long as I get 100 stitches in to the project, then I'm going to feel good about it. So I have already done this random number generate thing. And I did a screen capture of when I did it. So I'm going to insert that here in just a second so that you can see what I pull. And then we'll talk about it. Okay, everybody. So I am going to do the random number generator. I've got Thor here snorting if you hear that in the background. I'm going to use the random number generator to figure out which project I'm going to be working on in week 4. So I'm going to show you this here. So this is all of my remaining year of WIPs projects, and they are organized alphabetically, and then I assigned each a number 1 through 25 because that's how many I have left. So I'm going to switch over to the random number generator, and this is at random.org, and I'm just going to input 1 through 25 and hit generate. And it gave me number 19. Okay, so let's flip back over to the spreadsheet. And number 19 is Persephone. Oh, I'm so excited that Persephone was chosen. I have been aching to work on her, and as I mentioned, I've been talking about, as I might have mentioned, I've been talking about sort of switching over to just a few WIPs, working on just a few WIPs at a time, and this is definitely one of the ones that I was considering for my few. So really excited to get some work on her. If for whatever reason I get tired of her next week or something else happens, then I will record another random number draw and go from there. So thanks everybody for watching. We're going to switch back over to the regular video now. Persephone. I'm so excited. As I said, so excited. So this is a project that I'm going to work on maybe all week. Who knows? Maybe I'll just work on her for a few days and get bored. Time will tell. So, this is Persephone by Mirabilia. My January 1st, New Year, New Start 2015. I was supposed to finish this within a year. Oh, my little fabric tag. That obviously did not happen, but that's okay because she's a big girl. So, Persephone. She's so pretty. Is on a 32 count Belfast in Tempest by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Gorgeous, purpley. Love this. Oh my god. Okay, so here's where she stands currently. She has a big crease in her head. That's not good. Well, hopefully just straight ironing that will help it come out. So, I can already tell you that the first thing that I do next week is that skin right there. That's going bye-bye. No more skin on Persephone. She's going to get some hair next week. Very excited about that. And I might even start to work on some of the silks. Who knows? But my leading lady is going to get some love. It's well overdue. Well overdue to be finished and framed. Yeah. I'm so excited that it pulled that because when I was considering just canceling all of my other WIPs but a few, this was on the list of the few because I love her. Love her. So excited. I thought, as I was doing this random number generator, it's going to pull one I don't even want to work on. And then I'm going to delete this clip, and I'm going to lie. But it didn't. It didn't. It pulled one I wanted right off the bat. So, woohoo. Very exciting. So I will work on Persephone next week. And if, like I said, if I get bored, then I'll pull something else. And we'll keep chugging along through these whips. I have so many other whips that, outside of Year of Whips, that I want to work on. But I have to cut down the number of whips. They're right behind, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at all of the envelopes. A lot of them, like 70. So those are my plans for next week. And then whenever Keone gets here, I'll start Clouds Factory's Fabulous Women. That might not be till February, but it's totally cool. I'm good with giving some undivided attention to Rose Fairy, to Persephone. Yeah. So, that's it for the projects that I have to show you. Now let's switch gears here and talk about some retail therapy, some haul. Let's talk about the stuff. I have an envelope. It's full of stuff. Okay. This is not going to be in any particular order. I'm just going to pull stuff out of this stuffed envelope and talk you through it. So, up first, I finally got a thread color card. This is not one of the ones with the actual threads in. It's just the printed version. But because I am doing the conversion of Stargazer, I thought it would be good to have one of these to start playing with the colors and figuring that out. So that is definitely one of my goals within the next couple of weeks, to sort out the colors so that I can prep for that. I got some bobbins. Oh look, how boring is that? I got something else kind of boring. One skein of DMC 741. I got 28 count Cashel linen from Zweigart. They didn't have 32 count. I thought that I was going to use this for something, but I can't. I don't think it's big enough. Oh, this is fun. I placed an order with Stony Creek for a couple of rainbow galleries that I needed, and got a couple of things. So one of the rainbow galleries is another Petite Treasure braid number 26, and that is with my Dragon SAL because I'm using that for the border. I also needed a Whisper thread, and this is Whisper W99. It's down there. You can't see it because a little bit of glare going on. There it is. This is black. This is extra fuzzy. That's fun. This is for my Graceful Reindeer. That is very close to finishing. I almost finished that one instead of April, but I pulled April since it was tops on the list. So I got that. I also got, finally, the buttons that I needed for the July by the Cricut collection. So now I can officially finish this one just by getting the buttons on there. Super excited because my Uncle Sam is super, super round, and I love that. It's kind of like Santa dressed up like Uncle Sam. That's cute. And then there's a little bird. So there's that. Those are just another Mountain Company buttons for July. I also, in that order, I needed some new scissors bad. So I got some Ginger Storks. And they're pretty great. I wanted to get some snips, but these were a little bit more reasonably priced. So I got some new Storks. And they're pretty great. The only issue that I'm having is that you're never going to be able to see it, but there is some serious drag here. And so when I first got them, I had to like really wrench them open to be able to use them. But love those. Very pretty. And sharp. And this is my scissor fob that was made by Terra Stitches. Pretty little black work there in, I believe that's HDF. Or maybe not. I don't know. And then there's a little J on the other side from that giveaway that I won a couple years ago. So there's that. Where did that other little thing go? Where did you go? Okay, maybe it fell through. Something that I needed to get. This is the Snowflakes, the Mill Hill kit that I was gonna start on the 17th of this month. I'm still gonna start this, but the 17th was on Tuesday, which is when I did those 1,760 stitches on April. So yeah, this wasn't gonna happen that day. This is for the year of starts, and it's funny. So my Mill Hill kits, I kit them up using the Low-Ran project cards, and I put the thread on there. So I go kit this up, pull the thread out. There's two colors. I'm not separating. I'm not putting that on the thread cards. So yeah, just two colors, and then 1,000,001 beads, and a pretty little snowflake crystal. So ta-da, there's that. In that same order, I also got I got some boring things. I needed some needles, so I got a few packs of needles. I also got some petites because I've never used petite needles before, so these are some John James petites that I'm going to give a try. Size 28 because those are my favorites. And some flossaway bags because boring things. I also got, is this one missing a needle? Seriously? I hope it's in here somewhere. Okay, I also got the DMC variations. This is number 4050. That is called for Earth Goddess, and it is called Roaming Pastures. So that's pretty. Okay, fabrics of the month. I have a couple here. As I mentioned, my Keone. This is my Keone. It's on a 32 count Belfast linen. And you guys know linen takes dye a little bit darker, but this one just has a couple of darker spots. This one here, and the rest is really light. It's gorgeous, as I said, and as I told Leslie, there's no such thing as too much under the sea fabric stash. So I keep it, and then I buy another one. So I will figure out something to do with this. There might be a mermaid that goes on this, actually. Don't know. We shall see. Gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. So there's that. And then my hand dyed by Stephanie fabric of the month for December. Yes, this is called Winter Wishes, and this is what I'm using for Stargazer. And it's shown up pretty accurately. It's a soft gray with some darker modeling, but very, very pale. It looks like some of the Hokie stones. More than that, it looks like the, and the next time I'm in Blacksburg, I'll go over to the memorial and take a picture, but there is, in front of Burris, so Burris is the main administrative building at Tech Campus, and it overlooks the Durrell Field, which is the most recognizable part of Virginia Tech's campus, although Burris is the most photographed. And then just in front of Burris, on the Durrell Field, there's this ring of memorial stones for everybody that passed on April 16th of 2007. And each person has their own stone with their name etched into them. And visitors can leave flowers, notes, what have you. It's very well maintained and it's very beautiful and it's very peaceful. There's almost always somebody walking through. Next time we're there, I'll take a picture. But those stones that they used, I think, if memory is serving me right, they're a little bit lighter. Some hokey stone, just like some limestones, I mean, you get different shades. You get some more yellow and some more green and some darker and some lighter. But I think that these stones are lighter and I think that they're of a gray tone. I might be making that up in my head to make this work, but winter wishes. So Stargazer will go on this fabric here. Okay. Let's see. I got, when I was talking about the Dragon SAL and the little charm that I was using for, what am I trying to say here? The gemstone that he's holding. So I found these at my Hobby Lobby. And there is, you can see it says January Garnet there. And it's just this pretty little glass gemstone. And so it will, I'll attach it there and his claws. And it will dangle a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to look really pretty. So there is that. And I haven't gotten the ones for the next months yet, but that's okay. But I'm really excited about that. I think that's really pretty. And then I also got these, and I don't know if these are going to work. I don't know if this is going to meet the purpose that I had picked for it originally. But they are these little metallic, they look like flowers or snowflakes, depending on your perspective. Let's call them snowflakes. I'm going to use them, possibly, maybe, for graceful reindeer. It is charted with these lazy daisies, but like a ring of lazy daisies in acrylic spread throughout the design. And I really hate lazy daisies. I'll do a French knot before I do a lazy daisy ever again. So I've been looking for something that I might be able to use as an alternative. Now the acrylic that it calls for that design is a pale blue. You guys know that I've been replacing the pale blue French knots with these gorgeous little blue beads. So what I'm thinking of doing is using one of the beads at the center of these. So sticking that little blue bead there in the middle with this flower around it that looks like a snowflake, and adding some sort of sparkly dimension. So I'm going to try it out when I work on Graceful Reindeer again, and I will report back. So there's that. Okay, the last thing I have as far as physical is I won Abby Bella Stitch's giveaway for one of her agate slices. I think this one's called Jessie without an I. And I was super excited about it because this one's really, really cool. And so here it is. And I've been using it almost constantly. So it's this hot pink with the clear kind of running through it. Here's what I really like about it. It's got a rough edge. It's got like the outside of the stone right there. I love that. And then there's the classic button magnet situation there. So loved this. So happy to have won it. Abby also sent a thing of dark chocolate. Danny like practically ripped that out of my hands. He was like, "Ooh, she sent me something too." So I thought that was kind of cute. But that's fine because dark chocolate's his thing. So that thank you so much, Abby, for running that giveaway and for random number generating me. Love that. So, very cool. Abby does lots of giveaways, so make sure you're on her her page and make sure you're buying her stuff. Buy her stuff so that she can buy more HDF. Okay, so that's it for the physical haul. Now there's a couple of digital things that I got. The first of which is the Stitcherovia. Gosh, the sun's coming out a little bit, starting to wash me out a bit. But I'm kind of close. The Stitcherovia Charity SAL, and it is benefiting a UK nonprofit called Mind, which is, from my understanding, it's promoting mental health awareness and mental health advocacy. So, super cool. You pay for it each month, $2. $2 US, $2.08. So I definitely went ahead and bought that. That cashel linen is what I was thinking I might use for that, because none of the hand-dyed fabrics in my stash are really going to work. It keeps getting me. I keep thinking that thing's delivered. However, it's a little bit too wide for that fabric. That fabric is 18 inches wide, and I think that on 28 count, the design is 14 inches, so I'm looking at 2 inches. We'll see. I'm going to measure it and see if it's going to work or not. If it's going to work, then I'm going to start that now, this week, because I need to get on the ball with that. The top of the header, you've seen a preview because I've inserted it even though I didn't mention it, says quotes to live by, but it's kind of a full coverage little medallion thing. And then the first quote, it's an Oscar Wilde quote, "Be yourself, everybody else is taken," I think. So really excited to do this stitch along. Stitch Mania just put up an event page for this. Thanks, Katie, for that, and Garrett. Because I'm curious to see what fabrics people are using. There's a lot of people doing this thing, which I think is awesome. 100% of the proceeds are going to Mind. So, very cool. I also got something else. So Heaven and Earth Designs has this loyalty program. It's really great. If you spend $200 with Heaven and Earth Designs in a year, you get a free chart. All you have to do is email Michelle, "Hey, these were my order numbers for 2016. This is the chart that I want." And then 48 hours later, there's a chart in your inbox. How do I know this? I'm a loyal Haid customer. So I got my reward chart, and the one that I picked, I'm going to insert it here, is called Happy Howlidays, and it is by, I cannot remember his name. It is a he artist, and normally his work it's not my style, because it's very cartoonish, and generally speaking, I kind of like the darker things. Do I even have it here? Oh no. Oh, there it is. It's just in the wrong folder. Gary Patterson. Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't say what I was thinking it was. Gary Patterson. So you've seen a preview of what this is going to look like. It looks just like my goofball of a bulldog. I'm so excited to do this. Now, if you're looking at this design, you're seeing the same thing I am. And that is the gargantuan expanse of just night sky. We're talking like 11, 12 pages of just sky. And I love April because it's basically just background, but it's not. There's not confetti, but it's not just one solid color. There's a few colors in there. This is not. I have looked at the chart, and it's like the top is the darkest blue, and then a shade, and then a shade lighter. So I'm going to be cropping it. I'm going to be cropping it to just above the star because I think the star is really cute. So I think I'm losing like 6 pages. Now I have to look again. Let's see here. Scrolling. Okay. So I'm cropping just the first row of pages. So the first row of pages is just 6 pages. 6 pages. So I'm going to be cropping it just a little bit. It's just going to make it a little bit shorter. Because I think that you get the effect of the night sky without all of that. Without all of it. So, so I'm going to be doing that. I might start that on Thor's 5th birthday this year, which is not until October. But I thought it might be kind of fun to start that just before Christmas. But we'll see. We'll see where things are with stitching. We got a long way to go. Calm your jets, Jess. It's January still. So, but I was really excited. Got that as my reward. A goofy little Thor wearing antlers. So that is it that I can recall. Okay, so I was going to talk about my bullet journal as well as the books that I've read since we last talked. However, I think that I'm going to save that for next time. This video's gone on long enough. You guys have stuck with me through a lot today. It was a lot to catch up on. You know, I haven't seen you since last year, so we had to catch up. So thank you for sticking with me through that. But I'm going to save the other stuff for next week. Because my plan is to be back next week where I don't have near as much to talk about. I hope. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to everybody who left comments and asked where I was. I'm okay. Just life and stuff. I hope that you are well. I hope that you are happy. I hope that you are stitching. And I will see you next week. Okay, guys. Bye-bye. 2017 is shaping up to be an awful lot like 2016. At least in the Jessie Does Stuff recording realm. I sat down to record, and, this guy decided to have himself a seat in my lap. Like, almost the second before I hit record. You just don't even care, do you? Do you? He's really heavy. Yeah, he's really heavy. Where's your toy? Where'd you belong? Can you say hi? Thor and I are here to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Why do you not seem enthused, Fuzzbutt? Oh gosh, I gotta turn that light off. That's insane. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna do my video like this because I can't get up because I have a 65-pound lap dog on my lap. I'm jealous of everybody who can two-hand film. I can't. I can't film two-handed, as it turns out. It's gonna be a problem. Oh, you bored? Great. That's great. I'm so glad. It looks like I'm, being sworn in. Now, that's ironic. You really stink, kid. I need to get this out of my lap. Ugh. Oh, 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 bully. Oh, bully. You're so farty. Why? Oh, God. Okay. Take a hike.